We are so excited to have a special guest tonight, and you can even see who it is on your screen. Joining us tonight, we're so happy to have Liz Willis, who is is a new addition here at RSBN. You might have seen her in December, but she's going to be joining us full time starting next week, and she is an on-air correspondent, and she's amazing. And if you caught our coverage of the Donald Trump press conference earlier today, you know that Liz was actually a reporter at the press conference. She was in the room at the press conference, and we thought it would be fun for you guys to be able to see Liz and hear from her about her experiences there and meet Liz. We want to introduce Liz to you tonight. And also, we're going to give you a chance a little later to ask questions of Liz. So the way you can do this is you can go to my Twitter account, which is at Lookner, and you can DM me. If you direct message me at Lookner, I'll be able to look down during the show, get your questions for Liz. So if there's anything you want to ask Liz, shoot me a direct message at Lookner, and I will try to ask her your question. So Liz, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm in New York City still. It's warm today. It's pleasant outside, and it was a good day.
So when you say warm, how warm do you mean?
The high today was 51 degrees, but I suppose that's good for New York during this time of the year.
Okay, now, oh, sorry, Liz. Continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I just said I'll take it.
So Liz, I'm trying to do something here. So normally, this is a very small thing. Normally, I don't wear glasses on the show, and I had a little contact lens issue today. See, this is real news by real people. You don't see this in the mainstream media. I'm a real person with real contact lens issues. So I was trying to wear my glasses. So I'm going to try now to take them off, just so you know why there's silence, Liz, and see if I can still see my computer. And I think I can. Let me just make sure here. Good. Okay, I can still. So my glasses are getting taken off there. So now I just want to be sure I can still read the questions to you. So anyways, we're back. So Liz, you're in New York. You were at the press conference today. And before we get to what it was like being at the press conference, because I really want to hear about your experience being there, could you just tell the viewers like a little about you? Like, who is Liz Willis? Like, where were you born? What's your background? Can you introduce the viewers to yourself?
Sure thing. I'm 23 years old. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. Cheerleader in high school, always outgoing. I'm the baby of 5 kids, and I've got a really strong sense of family. I went to Auburn University, and I graduated from there after 4 years with a degree in communication and a business minor. During college, I competed 3 different years in an effort to win the coveted title of Miss Alabama USA, which is the Miss Universe system that was Trump's former beauty pageant. I never won. I came close, and I'm proud of it. It was a great system, and I think I got a lot of good public speaking skills from it. It's made me not so camera shy anymore, so I guess that's good for the industry that we're working in right now. I worked as a model, an actress, and a front desk employee, all while being a full-time student so that I could have some cash on the side during college. I also did 2 internships during college at CBS News in West Palm Beach, and following that, I worked at Ferrari in their marketing division. Right now, I am starting to work with RSBN. I'm very excited. I was at home cooking a few months ago, and we were watching a Trump rally. And when I heard the final commentary with y'all saying that you're a small group of people from Auburn, Alabama, I knew that was God calling me to go work for y'all. It was Auburn, the news, and broadcasting. It was my 3 passions coming together, and I wasn't going to miss out.
Well, we're so happy to have you. And I got to ask before we move on to more political stuff. You were working. I didn't even know this about you. You were working in marketing at Ferrari, correct?
Correct.
So what is that? What does that involve? Because Ferraris are kind of like one of the most expensive cars there is. So what are you doing when you're marketing Ferraris?
Good question. So I helped with Noelle, who is the head of marketing there. She was wonderful, and it was West Palm Beach Ferrari, not just any Ferrari. So it's a very popular store there. It has a lot of business in and out, lots of people coming in. And mainly what I did was help set up the events that are taking place for the Ferrari owners and the Ferrari Club members to keep them involved with Ferrari. You want your customers to be loyal and to keep coming back. So they have a lot of fun events like dinners and racetracks and driving experiences. They'll bring in professional drivers, and you get to ride with him or go on the track with him. So it was a really neat experience, and their cars are beautiful.
So if I don't know how many of our viewers want one, but if any of our viewers are interested in a Ferrari, do you have like an in? Can you get like the employee discount?
I wish. They told me no.
Oh. So
and there's also like a 2-year waiting list for a lot of them. So
because they make a limited amount.
Exactly. So
okay.
You can have the money, and sometimes you can't have one. So you gotta work hard for those.
Okay, well, so car fans out there, I'm sure we have a lot of car fans. You got a little car talk tonight. I hope you're happy.
Yeah, I actually
continue. I'm sorry, Liz. Yep.
I did marketing in high school, and I won the state championship for automotive services marketing for DECA, which is an association of marketing students. It was high school. It was a long time ago, but cars have always been a secret passion of mine.
Maybe we should have you do a car show. If people want to have Liz do a car show, let us know here at Right Side. You can go on our website and you can email us, or you can conveniently, I'll say, you can direct message me during the show at Lookner on Twitter. Direct message me and I'll see your comments. And later we're going to take questions for Liz. So Liz, okay, so now I want to get to like the big event of the day. We here covered live Donald Trump's press conference, his first press conference as president-elect. And if people out there, if you haven't seen it yet, you can go on our YouTube site at Right Side, and you can watch the press conference. You can watch our pre-show, and you can watch our post-show. And during the post-show, we did a phone call with Liz. So if you don't get enough Liz tonight, you can get more after this show by going and watch the post-show of the Donald Trump press conference on the Right Side channel at YouTube. So Liz, my first question I wanted to ask you is, there was this moment that's being talked about a lot, like on the news coverage I've been watching since the press conference happened. And like one of the biggest moments of the press conference was when Jim Acosta, who's a CNN correspondent, basically Trump was like criticizing the media for releasing and reporting on this document that had all these allegations about him that he said were false. And this thing was being reported on in like the last 24 hours. And he singled out CNN for this. And so Jim Acosta, who's a CNN correspondent, basically said like, hey, he shouted like, hey, Mr. Trump, Mr. President or President-elect, since you're criticizing us, can we ask a question? And basically, Donald Trump called on somebody else. And then there was this kind of awkward thing where, like, for a minute, Jim Acosta kept trying to ask a question and shouting it. And Donald Trump kept saying, like, no, I'm not taking a question from you. And no matter how much the president-elect said this, Jim Acosta kept saying this. And Donald Trump eventually said, like, you're fake news and called on somebody else. Actually, if you're out there, it's worth watching on the internet. After the show, go check that out or pause the show, watch it, and then come back to our show. We're fine with whatever. But I would love to know, Liz, you were actually in the room when this happened. Was it as tense and awkward in the room when this happened as it seemed watching it at home on TV?
Yeah, it was tense and awkward. Like you would say, those are two great words to describe it. It's my first press conference, and I wasn't really sure how to handle it. I didn't know if it was acceptable to laugh or if I should be shocked. It was. I just didn't know what to do. I think me, along with the rest of the reporters, we weren't expecting that kind of response. We know that he is not so fond of certain news networks, and he made that clear himself today. But I wasn't expecting that type of reaction. But I think when you're shouting things out, that's kind of what you get a lot of the time. Even Obama was known to call out reporters who spoke out of turn. So
yeah, it's funny because like I was trying to think today, when you watch President-elect Trump's reaction, on the one hand, I think like it's in the abstract, it's not a good thing for President-elect Trump to be saying like I'm trying to think of I don't know if you can remember the word he used. I don't know if it was like no or quiet. He was saying, I think he was saying quiet to Jim Acosta.
He did. You might think, well, be quiet, don't be rude.
Right. And you might think, well, it's not very presidential for the president-elect to be saying quiet to a reporter. But then I was thinking, on the one hand, maybe he shouldn't have done that. But on the other hand, I don't know what choice he had, because Jim Acosta kept like shouting this stuff at him, like he wouldn't stop. And it's like, so either President-elect Trump had to just give in and let this guy shout his way to asking a question, which doesn't seem very presidential. And it seems like he'd be losing control of his own press conference, or he had to keep saying quiet. So I do think that Jim Acosta kind of put President-elect Trump in a tough position. And I understand people saying, well, it looks bad for President-elect Trump to be saying quiet to a reporter. And perhaps there's a way he could have handled it like a little better. I don't even know, though, because I'm sure it's such a tough position for him when somebody is shouting this question for you. So probably President-elect Trump was just as surprised as anyone when this happened. But I mean,
and I have read.
How did you feel? Oh, sorry, Liz. Yeah, continue.
One last comment on that. I had just read earlier that some media sources, it was an idea, some media sources might be trying to get him aggravated or agitated because they want him to snap on them. That sells. That's going to be an article that people click on. They want to see that little clip of him snapping at a reporter. So it could have been purposeful. They could have been baiting him, or it just could be their behavior.
It's a good point. And unfortunately, we cannot see into the mind of Jim Acosta, so we cannot know what exactly was going through his head. Did he want to try to rile up President-elect Trump, or was he really trying to defend his news organization? We can't tell. So, but it's also interesting because I wonder, to me, that kind of I can't remember ever seeing a reporter shout a question repeatedly for 45 seconds or whatever it was at a president or president-elect. And I wonder if certain reporters feel well, President-elect Trump isn't respecting the normal rules with us, so we don't have to respect the normal rules with them. I'm not sure about that. Did you get the sense, though, other reporters, when this was going on, do you get the sense that other reporters were kind of whoa, this is kind of weird. It's weird that this guy keeps shouting these things at the president-elect, I'm sorry.
I was further back in the room, so I could not really catch the body language or what was going on towards the front row. But all of the reporters were very aggressive today in the front, trying to get their questions. He wasn't the only one shouting to get the attention.
That's a good point. So you're saying that part of the press conference vibe was you kind of had to shout to try to get your questions in. So it wasn't a very quiet press conference. So perhaps we have to, in looking at this and trying to assess blame or something like that, we have to remember that the shouting was part of the press conference. That's a very interesting point, Liz. Thank you. I want to get to Liz. So as I said before, if you want to ask Liz any questions, you can go to Twitter and write to me, direct message me at @Lookner, at LOOKNER, and I can pass on your question to Liz. I want to see, I have a bunch of people who have sent me, okay. So there's a bunch of questions here, Liz. If you give me 1 second, let me just peek at them and see if, somebody had a question about this incident we just talked about. This is, if I get the name right, Nitasa Pin, Bay City, Texas. And Nitasa Pin, Bay City, Texas writes that they heard that some people in the room were clapping after Trump called out CNN as fake news. But they heard this, but they weren't sure, and they wanted to know, did you hear anyone when Trump said that CNN was fake news? Was anyone in the room clapping?
That's a good question. And it was actually something I was going to ask you all later in regards to press conferences, because when Trump would cover a couple of topics, a few of the reporters would clap, and it was only a handful out of 150, maybe 200 people. You could tell if they liked his talking points, and I was going to ask y'all later if that was professional or if that was something we shouldn't be doing. I did notice clapping at times where there was only a few people, and if that was one of the circumstances, I would not be surprised.
So you're saying that you noticed at some points today when President-elect Trump would say something, there was some clapping in the room. Did you know if it was reporters or perhaps could you tell if it was reporters or maybe it was people in his camp, or was it just not clear who it was?
Well, his camp was at the front of the room, and the clap, they would clap on cue together, and then there would be some, maybe 5 or less people spread out with the press. So it was a mixture of both. Okay,
it's an interesting question, and as to whether For me, and this is just me talking, it seems to me like if you're in the press, you shouldn't be clapping or booing at the press conference. But that's just me. So, if you had asked me, Liz, I would have said, like, don't clap or boo. But that's just my opinion. But I do think as the press, the idea is to like try to not be biased. And I think if you're clapping or booing, it sort of suggests that you're a bit biased. Let me see if there are any more questions yet for you. I know I had a question I wanted to ask. Somebody asked who the reporter was that in this incident. And again, that was Jim Acosta from CNN. So I wanted to ask you, what is it like? So our viewers out there, for those of them who haven't been in the same room as President-elect Trump, what is it like being in the same room as President-elect Trump?
It's overwhelming. I have never been in the same room as a U.S. president before, and I was happy. It took a lot in me not to clap when he walked in. It was my natural instinct, and I wanted to, but that's when I quickly noticed that no one else was, so that I refrained from that. It's a sense of pride when you see the president-elect walking into a room, and I think, whether you support him or you don't support him, you need to respect him, and I felt good. I respected him. He holds himself tall. He speaks loud and clear. He does not fumble on his words. He knows what he wants to say, and he doesn't care if you like it or not. He's going to tell you the truth.
It's an interesting point you make when you say you had never been in the same room with a president or president-elect before. I had a similar experience a couple months ago because I covered President-elect Trump's last thank you rally in Mobile, Alabama, and I had never been in the same location with a president or president-elect before. And man, when they're there, it's like, wow, it's pretty intense. That's the person who's gonna be president, and that's anybody out there who has a chance. Who's never done this, and in the future, if you have a chance to go see the president, whether it's President Trump or some other president or another president-elect, I would encourage you to do it because it's just a really unique experience and it's a really cool experience. So I think it's a really cool thing, and it's the stuff you're saying about how he's speaking. And I remember I want to ask you about this again, Liz, and you said, and we were talking about a little bit about this earlier today. You said he really seemed like. Because some people were wondering, this is his first press conference as a president-elect, and some people were wondering, like, is he going to be comfortable? Is he going to be a little nervous? Is he going to be, like, overwhelmed by the moment? But you seem to think that he was very in control and sort of comfortable with the whole thing, correct?
He is a confident man. You can see when he walks into the room, he has his eyes on the audience. He has his head straight looking out, looking on the ground. He had a job for the day. He had talking points to get out to his audience, and they did exactly that. They got out what they wanted to say. They finished, and he was done.
So, and just so viewers out there know, so we had, I think, a bit of an audio issue on your answer, Liz, for the first part of it. Can you still hear me, Liz? I'm just making sure.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I think I'm hearing. It seems good now. So we will continue. This is all right. This is a good question. Now, don't answer this yet, Liz. This is a very good question from Andrew. Before you answer this, I'm going to give you the question that Andrew asked, and then I would like if Joe's out there or somebody else from Right Side. I don't know if we're allowed to answer this. So the question Andrew wants to know is, Liz, if you got to ask Donald Trump, President-elect Trump, a question today, what would you have asked? Now, don't answer this yet, Liz. Are we allowed? Oh, I'm getting the thumbs up. It was just a hand. I don't even know whose thumb it was, but it was somebody else who had the ability to make that decision. So, Liz, you are now allowed to say what question you would have asked President-elect Trump if you had gotten the chance today. Okay,
thank you for your question, Andrew. I have been itching to get this question out all day.
Oh, and Liz, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but before you say it, what I'd love for you to do is ask it the way you would have asked it with like the intro about who you are and everything.
Okay.
So pretend, so I'll be President-elect Trump and you be you. And I'm going to point at you and say, okay, you there, you from that woman over there who I think works at Right Side. It's your turn to ask. So you ask me a question. Go.
Thank you, Mr. President-elect Trump. I am Liz Willis with Right Side Broadcast Network. Our question is, Many of your supporters get their news from non-traditional new media outlets. Do you plan on giving new media equal access to that of the mainstream media during your administration?
Good job, Liz. That's excellent. It's a good question too. What do you think if he might have said if you had gotten asked that question? So the question is, like, would you have given new media equal access? Do you think he might have said yes, or do you think he might have hedged on it a little bit?
I think he would. I was wondering it myself what his action is going to be, if there's going to be a follow-up. But I think he would say yes. It seems that he has supported some new media before. I mean, he's using Twitter. He's not going to the mainstream media. He's not doing the precedented, like how it used to be done. He's doing a whole new way. He's surpassing the media and just going straight to the people. And I think that the new media is what he likes. It's most of the time more honest and open. And I think that he would support us, and I think he would have been happy to know that Right Side Broadcasting was in the audience today.
I'm hoping and guessing that he is aware of that because they had to approve us being there. So hopefully, even though you didn't get to ask that question, he was made a little bit happier today by knowing we were there and that we were covering him. Oh, and I also wanted to ask Liz, as a reporter, I was thinking about this myself, so you're sitting there. And obviously, it's probably like I respect so much that you just got through this thing where you're probably like anticipating the chance of asking this question. You got to be ready, and and it's probably very nerve-wracking. But are you also, when you're there, thinking to yourself, like, what if I do get to ask this question? Are you thinking a step ahead and saying, like, what might he say back to me? And then how might I answer that? Or is it that if you start thinking that way, there's like a million different things he could say back to you, and it will just drive yourself nuts trying to anticipate, so you just stop thinking about it? Which approach did you take when you were thinking about that?
Well, you hit the nail on the head with that one. I was confident in my question. I get there, and then he starts speaking, and then I start practicing my question in my head. And eventually I'm playing all these scenarios where he is giving me other questions. He wants to know more. He is talking about other stuff. And eventually I had all these scenarios going in my head that after a few minutes, I realized I had completely zoned out of the press conference. I was thinking about my question, and I had to just tell myself to relax, calm down. I know how to speak. It's easy. I'll get the question out, and I need to listen to what he's saying. So it was a learning process today. I just have to remind myself to relax. Don't think too hard about it. Just let it be natural. And I think that's what he likes about RSBN, or what he would like about it, is that we are natural. It's not forced. It is what it is.
It's real news by real people for real people. That's what it is. Liz has no response to my claim about that.
I agree. It's for the people.
I was just joking, Liz. So, and Liz, like, at any point today when you're in this press conference, do you sort of like, I mean, I know you're busy there, obviously, trying to get a question in and stuff, and trying to listen to what's going on. At any point in the press conference, did you just sort of sit back and go like, wow, I am a reporter at a presidential press conference? Could you have time to stop and take it all in, or was it not till like after?
The whole time. That was also just running through my head. I had so many thoughts today. It was a very surreal experience. I just take life one day at a time, and I've prayed about what I was going to do in my future when I was a grown-up, what I would do when I was older, and here I am as my first press conference, and it is the president-elect of the United States. It's a man I support, and it's a man that I think is going to make America great again. I am so proud of myself and so thankful for the opportunity to be here and to be a voice for the people, and I thank Right Side Broadcasting for giving me that opportunity.
That's really cool. That's great. And I know I have another question I want to ask you, but before I do, I want to just check and see if our listeners asked. Oh, okay. So we had another question. So we have another question from the listeners, and this question is, how are the seats? And you might not know the answer to that, and that's fine, but we'll ask anyway. How are the seats at the news conference assigned? Did you get any insight on that when you were there?
I did not. I can tell you what I expected and what happened. I assumed which you know what they say about assuming. I assumed that they would have little tags or something for each network, and that I would just go in and sit down. Quickly learned that's not the case. I walked in at 9:10. Check-in was from 9 to 11:30, so I was pretty early. And the seats were completely taken. People had gone ahead and reserved them. There were signs on them, people sitting at home saving other seats with their belongings. And they, I think they just came in earlier to reserve them. And from now on, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to get as close as possible so that when he sees my hand straight up in the air, he has a hard time ignoring me.
And you did say, I think when I talked to you before, that like it's better as a reporter to be towards the front. And there were a lot of reporters there. I read there were over 250 reporters there today. I read this online. But you said that it's better to be in the front just because the person who's giving the press conference can see you. And was that your experience there?
As far as today went, I absolutely think that being in the front was beneficial to the reporters there. It seemed that probably 70% of the questions came from the very front row. I'm not sure if those were planned out in advance, but that's how it went today. I was in the back standing for a few hours. So I've also learned to bring a change of shoes, something that doesn't have a high heel and a pointy toe.
Oh, so were you in high heels all day?
Yes.
And so this is very interesting to me. So could you have gotten away with like wearing like flats or sneakers because even if you were on TV, no one would see your full body? Like were other reporters there not like in more comfortable shoes? Or what's the deal with that? Because that sounds like it'd be, given how long you were standing, that could be very painful. So like, do you know if you're allowed to wear more casual footwear for that kind of thing?
I guess it's a learning process. If you know that you already have a seat reserved and you're going to be sitting during the press conference, then go ahead and wear heels. A lot of them had more comfortable looking shoes on than I did. It was my first one, and I might have been a little overdressed, but I always learned it's better to be overdressed than underdressed. So I dealt with the pain, and from now on, flats are completely acceptable. They're cute. I would probably never wear sneakers to a president-elect press conference, but that's just a personal style choice of mine.
That's probably a smart choice, Liz. I'm with you on that one. Oh, and I want to tell our viewers about you actually met somebody super cool today, and if they happen to follow you on Twitter, they can see the picture of who you met. By the way, what is your Twitter address? Is it Twitter address? I don't even know what it's called. Twitter handle? I have no idea what it's called. I'm sorry? Your handle.
Yes, please.
Yes.
It is @_Liz Willis, LizWillis. And today I was fortunate enough to take a picture with Kelly Ann Conway. She is just a brilliant, beautiful woman, one of the first female campaign managers to be successful. And I hope that out of everything I'm learning through this, that one day I can be just this close to being like her. I think she's a wonderful woman, and what she did for Trump campaigning and what she's going to do is just brilliant. I really look up to her.
That's so cool to get to meet her. And I know we talked a bit before, and I know you didn't really get to talk to her much, but like, how did you even get to meet her at all? Was it just like an accident?
Divine intervention, maybe. I had gotten kicked out of the press room. They were telling everyone to get out, not just me personally. And so I went outside to call my mom and tell her that I just finished my first press conference. I was so excited. And I'm sitting down, and my mom also loves Kelly Ann. And I said, Mom, because it just seems it didn't seem real to me, because why would she be walking, sitting where I was? There was no security. She was just walking, but she wasn't walking very fast. You could tell she was busy. She didn't want to be interrupted, but I couldn't stop myself. I was just in heaven when you see your idol walking straight past you. And I said, Mom, I think Kelly Ann is right in front of me. She had a blue dress on, right? Like, I think that's her, but I can't tell because there's no security. I would imagine she would have gone up the elevator with Trump or something. And she was like, yeah, that's her. So I just ran to her. I said, can I get a picture? And she said, yeah, I'm Kelly Ann. And I said, yeah, I know. I told her I was at the Right Side Broadcasting Network. She was smiling. She was friendly, but we didn't get to talk too much. As you can imagine, she had a very busy day.
Yeah. Well, I love that you went up and said hi, and I especially love that you dropped the right side bomb on her. Way to go! I love that you got that in there. But that's such a cool story. That's great. So awesome. So we have a few more minutes left here, and I want to take a couple of more questions if people have them. So if you have any questions in the remaining part of the show for Liz Willis, you can go to Twitter. My Twitter handle, as I found out it's called, is at Lookner, Lookner. And you can direct message me on Twitter, and I'll be able to forward your question or hopefully be able to ask it to Liz Willis. Actually, I see that someone by the name of Jacob Seals has asked a question. See, now this is funny because Jacob Seals, who works at Right Side, when I host the show and you're not here, he just will send things to like bother me and like jokey questions and questions which don't actually contribute to the show and actually get in the way of the show being good. But he sent actually a very good question for you. And that question was, Liz, when did you realize you were conservative?
I was homeschooled in, I want to say 5th grade, and I'm not sure what the defining moment was, but it was my first year being homeschooled, and I went to the store, and I was told to get some posters that would help me learn. So I had my multiplication posters, my division, not sure what else, but I had to have a poster on George W. Bush. So my mom got it for me. She was probably happy to buy it. But and I had it next to my bed up in my room, and I looked at it every day, and I memorized all the facts on it, and something just told me that I was a Republican at 10 years old. I don't know what it was, but there's just been, I've never doubted it. I was obsessed with him when I was little, and I used to study all his facts. At the time, I could have written a biography. It was probably strange for a 5th grader, but that's...
Maybe one day, who knows, maybe one day you can meet him.
I would like that. That'd be awesome.
So I will say there was one, so you might have, if you ever meet George Bush, you might have a similar experience to me. When I was growing up, I used to watch the Brady Bunch like every night straight for about 4 years. And they were like my substitute, my second family. And I happened through work, when I was an adult, to get to meet the woman who played Marcia Brady, and I can't remember her name right now. But anyways, it was the weirdest thing where, like, when I was introduced to her, and in my line of work, I got to meet like a bunch of celebrity people, and so it wasn't that she was a celebrity, I was used to that. But when I was introduced to her, she was such a part of my childhood that when I went to shake her hand, I was like shaking myself, because I guess it's like when you're a kid and you like are into a celebrity, like it's such a big part of your life. And so I hope if you ever get to meet George W. Bush that you're not shaking when you meet him. But if you are, just know it's entirely normal.
I tend to get a little nervous sometimes. So
it's totally understandable. Teresa Mize has a question for you. Teresa Mize wants to know, Liz, did you wear a credential with like RSBN logo or your name on it when you were at the press conference?
That's a really good question. I did not. I had, I'm trying to think if it's in my purse here. I don't see it, but I did tweet out a picture of what I had. It's a small square. It said media press on it. I didn't even have a lanyard. This is the learning process for me. So next time I'll have a lanyard at least, and I'll put that little square thing they gave me with a hole in it, my credentials, I'll put that on the lanyard. And for the future, I would really like to have some RSBN lanyards made. I'm proud to work for this news network, and I want everyone to know who I'm representing.
Wow, I guess you're going from like the new person to the boss all of a sudden, Liz.
Sorry, Joe.
I guess that's all right. No, I'm kidding. It's funny you mentioned that. We actually were talking today about like, we should have given Liz a lanyard. It was actually on our to-do list of things to do. So we are going to be making lanyards. Now, I also want to ask you, Liz, there's one more comment somebody said about. Maggie says you want to have your heels on when you meet any of the Trump cabinet. That's her advice for you. Norway for Trump had a very good question for you. Norway for Trump says, how did other reporters treat you, Liz? Like a colleague or an outsider?
They were really friendly. I actually only spoke to 2 of them. I think a lot of them were there to just get their job done. I'm more of a talkative person. I guess eventually maybe the industry will beat that out of me. I don't know. I hope not. No one was talking too much. They all had a lot of them had groups. They had each other. You could tell that the bigger networks would send a couple of people instead of just one. So they were talking to each other. I made a friend. I met someone today from another network, and he was nice. It was his first press conference too. He was friendly, and then I met one other person whose network is Catholic network, and it is headquartered in Birmingham, Alabama. So that was cool just to share the whole Alabama headquarters thing. And yeah.
So did you notice, like, were the Fox people kind of like standing on the opposite side of the room from like the MSNBC people, and were they kind of giving each other nasty looks? Did you sense any tension there?
I didn't sense any tension. Again, I wasn't right next to them or anything, but the room was so small that you didn't have much of a choice. You're just gonna stand next to whoever.
Stand next to whoever. Okay,
yeah,
so
you just gotta get over it and deal with it and do your work.
So Liz, I want to tell the viewers out there, in case they didn't know, and now that they've been introduced to you, that they'll be able to see some more of you next week, because you and I both are going to be in Washington, D.C. As part of the blanket Right Side Broadcasting Network coverage of the inauguration. And so not only are we covering the ceremony, and we're going to have our correspondents, Cassie Dillon and Will Nardi, at a bunch of the other events like the Deplorable and a bunch of the other events going on. We're going to have full coverage. But you and I are going to be going around Washington, D.C. and like we're going to be live streaming with a new super secret app, which we cannot talk about, from our phones, and interviewing people out in the field and getting a feel for what's going on in D.C. Outside the actual official events. And so I really look forward to working with you. Are you looking forward to being in D.C. next week and checking out what's happening there?
Yes. I cannot remember the last time I was in D.C. I was a wee little baby taking a tour of the White House. I barely remember any of it. Speaking of Cassie, I would like to give you a shout out right now. Thank you for taking me under your wing today, giving me advice and tips. I appreciate it more than you know. And to any viewers out there who have constructive criticism, please, DM me or tweet me. I'm taking it mainly more constructive than not. But I did hear y'all last time I was on the news about my posture, and I'll work on that. And then anything else y'all have for me, you just let me know. I'm here for y'all. And I want to make you guys happy and happy with the product that we're giving to y'all. And to finish your question, I am extremely excited about DC and to be with you and to work not specifically with the group of press, but touring with the city, going to the monuments and being able to interview some people and just locals and tourists, whoever's in the city and whoever wants to give us their opinion and give us some footage. I'm excited, and I want to say thank you to the viewers who saw our shout out today, saw your show earlier about tweeting us when we're in DC. I've already seen a few tweets of people wanting to know where we'll be, and that's exciting. I told them we don't know yet, but as soon as we know where we are in DC, we'd love to share our location and have some fans come and meet us and some viewers come and hang out with us for the day.
Yeah. I think the days we're going to be really covering stuff, I think, are probably like the 18th and 19th. So don't tweet us now that you're in DC, but if you're there next week and a couple days before the inauguration, and maybe you want to be interviewed by Right Side Broadcasting, feel free to tweet Liz, direct message her. She's at @_Liz Willis. That's WILLIS. And my Twitter handle is @Lookner, LOOKNER. It's funny, Liz, that you say now you want constructive criticism. And I actually, like when I first started doing the on-air stuff for Right Side, I really wanted constructive criticism too. And now after receiving so much criticism, I kind of don't want it anymore. But maybe you'll get less than I do.
If we can summarize all of it into like one sentence, that's good. I'm not saying blow up my Twitter with a bunch of things I've done wrong. I can figure some of it out. But if there's some major things, let me know.
See, I actually think when people email me, they're usually right with their constructive criticism. I just have horrible self-esteem issues, and so it just makes me really depressed when I get it. But please keep emailing me your constructive criticism. I really want to hear it. Okay, we're getting close to the end of the show, but I do also want to just do a quick check here and see if there's anything else that people wanted us to ask you. So there's been a guy who now, is this the same person as before? Okay, so this is a question for me, Liz, but I'll say it. Parade driver on Monday said, "Are you wearing pants?" On Tuesday, he said, "Do you have trousers on?" And today he's asking me if I have any slacks on. I still have jeans on, parade driver. So I'm sorry, the answer is no today that I'm not wearing slacks, but I'm wearing jeans. So I want to get out there. So the last things I want to ask you, Liz, is so looking back on your day, being at this press conference, what was was there one part of the day that's like the most memorable for you when you think back on your day? What was the most memorable part of the day for you?
I think just watching the president-elect of the United States walk into the same room as you. He came out of those beautiful gold elevators, and I'm in the middle of Trump Tower. I've wanted to go to Trump Tower since I was little. I competed for Miss Alabama in the hopes that I could win Miss USA and go live at Trump Tower. It was something I've dreamed about since I was little, and just to be there, it's so surreal. And to watch Donald Trump walk out, to see his team walk out with him, and to see Kellyanne and Ivanka, it was surreal. Ivanka is just as beautiful in person as she is on the TV screen, by the way. So it was. And
you got to see his sons too, like Don Jr. and Eric were there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he pointed them out about taking over the Trump organization.
Yeah,
they were there.
And did they look? So I know how they look on TV, but did they look in person like they looked on TV?
They look the same too. Everyone looks the same.
Okay,
that's
good to know.
She's one of my style icons.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said Ivanka is one of my style icons.
Oh, so cool. Well, thank you so much, Liz, for sharing all your experiences today. It's so cool to me that we got to talk to somebody who was actually at this press conference. Like it's so cool to hear your perspective, and also I really love that you got to go to this place that you'd always dreamed of going to, and it seemed like such a cool day for you, and I'm really happy for you and that it happened. And I'm really excited that you're going to be here full time at Right Side and doing more stuff. And so, I'm really looking forward to working. Everybody here is really looking forward. It's been a long day. I came in early to do the pre-show for the press conference, but everybody here is really looking forward, Liz, to working with you. And people out there, if you want to see more of Liz, you'll be seeing more of her next week in the inauguration coverage, and go to Right Side's YouTube channel, go to rsbn.tv. Oh, I forgot, I have to say a shout out. So the last couple of shows we've done of Real News by Real People, I have talked about how if you want to chat with other Right Side fans, you can go to the Right Side chats that are on YouTube. But one of the moderators for the rsbn.tv chat said, hey, there are all these chats for the different shows that you can find on the Right Side webpage. That's rsbn.tv. So if you want more chat fun, go to rsbn.tv, and you can, when you go to a certain show, there'll be a chat there, and there's moderators there, and that chat is really cool too. Although I hope the YouTube people who do the YouTube chat now don't hate me because I promoted the rsbn.tv chat. I don't know if there's a rivalry there. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten involved in between it. So go to both chats. How about this? Go to both the YouTube chat and the rsbn.tv chat and do both at once. Then everybody is happy. But anyways, thank you all for joining us out there for this great, cool day of covering the press conference, and also being able to meet and introduce and talk to Liz Willis. Liz Willis, do you have anything final you want to say to all of the viewers out there?
Thank you for making this possible. Thank you for supporting our vision and our dream with Right Side Broadcasting. And thank you for also helping to make my dreams come true today. I appreciate it more than you know, and I look forward to working with y'all.
So cool. So happy to have you. If you want to donate to us, we always appreciate donations because we don't take big donors who are going to control what we put on the air. You can go to rsbn.tv/donate. Tomorrow night, well, later tonight, we have the Wayne Dupree show on Right Side Broadcasting. So, and Wayne, I know, has some strong feelings about the press conference. So feel free, you can call into Wayne's show and tell him what you think. So check out Wayne Dupree later. Tomorrow night, our schedule is getting so full here at Right Side. It's so great. Tomorrow night, another episode of Raised Right with Cassie and Will, which is about the experience of being a conservative on college campuses these days. And then Friday, I believe, if all goes well, we'll have another episode of the Joey Saladino Show, starring, you know him from YouTube as Joey Salads. And that's a really fun show. So we're so excited to bring you all this new programming. And thank you for watching. We do this all for you. Let us know what you think. You can tweet, follow us at RSB Network. That's the Right Side Twitter handle. Liz is at _Liz Willis. I'm at Lookner, LOOKNER. And thanks for watching. Thanks for watching all day. We got so many viewers for the press conference. It was awesome. Thanks for watching this show. And we really look forward to bringing you more shows. We're so excited for the inauguration. So I'm going to keep saying thank you. And thank you, Liz. And until next time, have a great night.